Good evening, everyone. We will now begin the evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters, expressing our gratitude to God and Meishu-sama for blessings and protection received while participating in the construction of paradise on earth. Amatsu-Norito and Miroku prayer, please stand. Takaamahara kamuzumarimasu. Kamurogi kamuromi no mikoto mochite sumemi oya kamuri zanagi no ushi no imuka no tashi hana no dono ahagi harani misogi harai tamo toki ni narimaseru harai dono kamitachi moro moro no magagoto tsumi kebare o harai tamae kiyome tamae tomao sukoto no yoshio amatsu kami kunitsu kami aoyorozu no kami tachi tomo ni ame no fuchikoma no mimi furikatete kikoshi meseto kashikomi numaosu Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae Oshie miyoya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki Oshie miyoya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hae tamae Kom nagara tamachi haemase. Kom nagara tamachi haemase. Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, the time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Johrei. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truth given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light, so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized with health, peace, and prosperity, a reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light, so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan. Please be seated. We will now receive group Johrei.
May God and Meishu-sama bless you.
Johrei is now concluded. We will now listen to a reading from Meishu-sama's teachings. I have been blessed. How happy I am to have been saved by God's healing light when I was ill and in danger of losing my life. I now receive His abundant blessings. How grateful I am to be healed of the illness that clouded my mind and spirit. I cannot serve God enough to express my gratitude. Nothing is as precious as life itself. Now, in this lifetime, we can serve God in His divine plan for the world. Salvation on a spiritual level alone, without any regard for the material side, cannot be true salvation. We can have real peace of mind only when we will believe solutions to physical problems are possible. Some fears, such as that of starvation, can be eased if we believe someone is going to bring us food. We can have peace of mind about other problems, such as disease or poverty, when we trust that they can be solved through faith in God. In this way, solutions on both these physical and spiritual levels can bring us to a state of true salvation. The most important goal of this dual approach should be to eliminate disease and make people healthy. Material blessings are meaningless if you are suffering from illness. Thus, the first condition for the salvation of humanity must be to help everyone achieve true health.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining this evening service of the Miroku Association. During the prayers this evening, we elevated our thoughts to Haiti, its country and its people. They are undergoing social, political turmoil, chaos with the assassination of its president. We also elevated our continuous thoughts to the victims of the COVID-19, their families and friends. Today, July 7th, is the anniversary of transition of Reverend Kyoko Higuchi. Reverend Higuchi was a wonderful minister, was the very first minister sent by Meishu-sama outside of Japan. She expanded in Hawaii beautifully, and after 2 years, she began expansion efforts in Los Angeles and California. So if we have this strong foundation here in North America is due to her pioneer efforts. I would like to share some of her messages. She delivered beautiful, wonderful, powerful messages. One of them I'd like to share with you this evening in honor of Reverend Kyoko Higuchi. This is about the experiences she had with Meishu-sama herself and about how she became a member. I joined the Johrei movement in 1944. It was not easy because it was not very sure of the true, deeper meaning of the way of light. In those days, the Johrei Center, where I took the introductory course, was operating as a therapeutic treatment center. And almost all spiritual teachings were forbidden by the authorities of the time. I became a member because I had experienced miraculous help through Johrei. and also had seen so many people who had been helped. Thus, I could believe in the power of Johrei without any doubt and thought it would be a wonderful thing to be able to channel the divine light and help others. A week or so after finishing the introductory course, I had the wonderful experience of attending a meeting at the headquarters in Tokyo to hear Meishu-sama for the first time. After that, my attitude toward Meishu-sama and his teachings made a complete turnabout. I never missed the services at the headquarters or the sessions with Meishu-sama, which were given once a month for different groups. I also became even more eager to give Johrei to others and began experiencing more and more wonderful results. I began to feel an inexpressible joy of giving service to humanity. In the meantime, World War II intensified, and according to the divine guidance he received, Meishu-sama moved from Tokyo to Hakone. Soon after that, my minister moved to Atami. About a year after I became a member, I began to feel a strong call to devote myself to the way of light. So I quit my teaching work at Tokyo's Women's College and moved to Atami to serve at the center headed by my minister. Some months after this, I began to have a prolonged, difficult purification in the form of eczema. At that time in Japan, eczema was epidemic in many areas, and many people were suffering from it. According to Meishu-sama's teachings, eczema is a form of purification of mostly congenital, means hereditary toxins, mixed with ones acquired through foreign substances. Everyone has both these kinds of toxins, and will have to eliminate them someday, in some form. I was happy because I had been told that the sooner we had the elimination of these toxins, the better. My minister was channeling to me every day, but my condition remained quite severe. So he asked Meishu-sama to give Johrei to me. Thus, I had the wonderful opportunity of receiving Johrei from Meishu-sama himself. While my condition was at its worst, just before I was to leave Atami for the city of Fujieda to spread the Johrei work, I received Johrei from Meishu-sama 8 times. The first time I went to Tozanso for Johrei. Tozanso was being used as Meishu-sama's headquarters in those days. It was a chilly day in early December, and a light snow was falling. I was shivering. However, as soon as Meishu-sama came in the room where I was waiting, I began to feel somewhat warm. When he started giving Johrei, I became so warm, I started to perspire all over. I was so surprised and grateful that I told him how warm I felt. Meishu-sama laughed and said, "Oh, quite a number of people have told me the same thing, so I have said to them, I can be utilized for a heater. Isn't that convenient when we are short of fuel?" After a while, still channeling, he said, "Miss Higuchi, you were a Christian, weren't you? This heat you feel from Johrei is the heat which comes from God, the same God Christians worship, the creator of the universe, the giver of all life." He spoke softly. I had heard this before, but my acceptance up to that time was only halfway. Now I was receiving the light from Meishu-sama himself, and the words reached the core of my soul. What a privilege and honor it was to have been led to Meishu-sama and be close to him, to be enveloped in his aura. I was so deeply impressed, I could not say a word. I came home in a daze. That evening, as I was thinking of what had happened and praying, tears ran down my cheeks in a flood, and I could not stop crying for a long time. They were tears of joy and gratitude. When the last session of Meishu-sama's Johrei to me was over, I was thinking that I was not sure whether or not I would be able to begin my work in the new place properly. Without my mentioning this to Meishu-sama, he seemed to have read my mind and said, "Now the worst part of your purification is over. This kind of purification takes time. Even though you will still have to suffer for quite a while, this experience is a very good and important one for you, for the work you are going to do. After this is over, you will have a new life. You will be a new person in every way, so that you will be able to give much better service." These words were a great encouragement to me. The purification did continue for months to come, but while purifying, I was somehow able to give classes in the introductory course, and hundreds of people joined our movement. My life has indeed been changed because of Meishu-sama. In those days, Meishu-sama used to set aside from his busy schedule 3 times a month so members from 3 major groups could meet with him. We used to call these sessions "going to receive the divine light," because whenever we attended that kind of session with Meishu-sama, we were so enveloped in his aura, we definitely felt we had received Johrei from him. Each time we felt so uplifted. We went home different persons, having received such spiritual strength from being in his presence. It was a most unusual feeling. These sessions usually start with a little talk by Meishu-sama on a specific topic, which was taken from current events, with Meishu-sama's own interpretation from the spiritual point of view. It was very interesting, so the congregation was quite eager to listen to him. Meishu-sama was a small, gentle-looking person with white hair and a humble manner. He looked not at all outstanding in appearance in a worldly sense. He was sweet and friendly, had a grandfatherly air, and spoke in a soft, quiet voice. Yet, because of his unusual vibration, there was something extraordinary, something high and dignified about him that all of us. When Meishu-sama's topic was on such important teachings as God's plan for the new age or the divine law, he spoke with authority and a serious attitude, sometimes even appearing stern. Usually after that kind of talk, he noticed the congregation's serious mood and would suddenly change the topic, saying something humorous so as to brighten the atmosphere, setting his listeners off into roars of laughter. Indeed, he had a special knack for this. Excuse me. The talks were usually followed by a question and answer period. These covered all kinds of topics: philosophy, sickness, social problems such as crimes, and so forth. Meishu-sama's response to questions was swift and right to the point. He gave clear-cut answers to difficult problems from the spiritual point of view, and with such conviction, I was often amazed. He listened to each individual carefully and answered with love and warm consideration. But there were times when he sounded quite strict, and there was always a reason for it. One time, for instance, someone asked about the meaning of a simple purification, such as diarrhea or a fever, which all members should have known. Meishu-sama did not answer directly and only said, "Oh, it is written in my teachings. When you go home, find the answer for yourself in my books." As I always say, it is important to read and study the teachings regularly. By doing so, you not only gain the knowledge, but also receive light and spiritual strength. Thus, he always stressed the importance of reading and studying his teachings. We noticed when a member reported his experience with Johrei, and although good in itself, the recitation was accompanied by the individuals making a show of his merit. Meishu-sama seemed to sense it and did not listen very earnestly. On the contrary, when someone, perhaps an uneducated person from the countryside, spoke falteringly but with sincere love, Makoto, Meishu-sama listened patiently with deep understanding. He prized most the deep Makoto love which he immediately seemed to feel from the vibration of the individual. One time, a minister reported on the condition of a member who, after many times of receiving Johrei, did not seem to respond and improve. He asked Meishu-sama what vital areas he had missed in giving the man Johrei. Instead of giving his answer immediately, Meishu-sama asked the minister whether or not the man was giving Johrei to someone in need. To this, the minister answered, "Oh no, it seems all he's interested in is his own healing." Then Meishu-sama said, "I thought so. Tell him that he was presented with the sacred focal point of Hikari, that he may help others and help God's work. Tell him that he should first change his attitude from that self-centered one to a desire to help others. That's the vital point, the vital requirement for him to have his condition improved." Ministers should always remember that Johrei is not a physical treatment. They should be able to give proper guidance to members so that they may grow spiritually and attain true happiness. Thus, there was no way to deceive Meishu-sama. He was always in a state of oneness with God. I would ask you to think deeply once again about the profound significance of Meishu-sama's birth on this earth plane. He awakened us to the great turning point from night to day. Teachings about this crucial point in time, which is imminent, have been given by other philosophers. It is true. However, few people have known what this really means. Meishu-sama was the only one who clearly showed us what a great change it would be and how, through Johrei, we could not only survive the time safely, but could also help others to do so and experience the exquisite joy of giving service as well. The many unusual happenings increasing recently on every level are simply the beginning signs of this great change. Meishu-sama called it a divine drama. He said, "This great cosmic drama has been referred to as the Last Judgment. Our planet is the stage on which a breathtaking performance is being enacted. So great a drama could not be experienced at any other time. The conflict between good and evil is developing in a very complicated manner, until at last, evil will be vanquished. There are more wicked actors than good actors, and those who play the wicked parts are really to be pitied. The great love of God will save as many people as possible, however, by working through the sincere channel of His divine light. Our members are called to serve as these channels." Meishu-sama is working in the spiritual realm more actively than ever before at this time, helping all those who are sincere servers in the establishment of paradise on earth. He said, "Remember, when you are serving God's work, helping humanity, I am working with you." The light is rapidly increasing as the world enters the last stage of the old age, which is a wonderful thing to know. But at the same time, purification is becoming more severe. As we watch the changes in the world, we can see how true this is. Especially from the beginning of this year, that was when she mentioned this message in 1983. Worldwide purification has become more apparent on every level. It will continue until the world will completely purify. We are indeed fortunate because we are aware of the true meaning of this change of the divine drama. Let us always be conscious of the great mission and responsibility giving us as messengers of light. It seems right now that the progress of our movement is very slow here, but we should never be discouraged, for this is God's plan and it will surely be fulfilled in due time. What is most important for us to remember always is that in order to be more effective instruments of God, we should grow beyond the shojo, the limited, selfish attitude some of us may still have of praying only for our individual happiness. We should progress to the daijo, the broad-minded attitude of praying for the welfare of all humanity, as Meishu-sama did, and put our faith into action by helping others through Johrei. Meishu-sama said, when we forget ourselves in responding to the needs of others, we really live our faith. This is our greater salvation, for we cannot be truly happy while others suffer. Let us sincerely pray that we can make this our fresh starting point, and with a positive attitude, begin working still more joyously with Meishu-sama. This was the words, wonderful message by Reverend Higuchi that I wanted to share with you and wish you a very blessed evening. Thank you very much.
This brings to a conclusion of our evening service. Thank you everyone for joining us and have a blessed evening.